everybody, and welcome back to Back Roads. We are going to be using this map this week, and then we're going to be moving back over to Bloomfield once Pumps and Hoses releases. How is everybody doing today? We have a interesting mod question posted in chat. Curious to hear what people's thoughts are on that. And we need to go, guess what? Refuel stuff. Big surprise there. Waylon, what is up, sir? How does it all go? Will, good afternoon. Vesper, what is Maize Plus? Maize Plus is a rather extensive mod that was released today for Farm Sim 22 for PC players. If you're on a console, then you don't need to worry about it because it's not going to be available. It is heavily script dependent, but it basically changes, well, everything that you know related to how to make silage, what is used to make silage. Also has lots of changes with respect to animals and feeding of animals, amongst many other things. Armchair Ag, welcome back. Refueled. We're doing some corn contracts because you know what? Dried corn is going to pay out very well. So why not? Why not? Try to get a little extra corn in the mix. Big Rick and Roger, welcome. Things went well. Things went well. We're at home. She is recovering. Today we had to take the bandage off the incision area and inspect that and see how things look. 2 million on beans. Beans are a decent crop. They don't yield the best, but they do have a pretty good price to them. Are you gonna empty my... Oh yeah, you're gonna empty my fuel tank. I only got 320 some liters left. Might as well go refuel this. But yes, Maize Plus is a very expensive mod. It changes lots of things. I would definitely not add it until you had plenty of time to read over it and understand what you were getting into. It's definitely not a mod that you just toss in there and roll with it. And I would say you probably don't want to take it out once you put it in. So if you put it in, you probably want to know that you want to keep it. But if we do choose to add it, like I said, we are going to make sure we fully understand how the heck it's going to work before we go and add it. In addition to Maize Plus and the Maize Plus add-on for animal feeding, We also got a grazing mod today released. Again, for PC players. Now, the grazing mod does not require Maize Plus. I checked that out before the live stream and confirmed that with the mod author. So if you are maybe interested in the grazing mod, you don't have to worry about needing to use Maize Plus with it. Although Maize Plus is recommended because of the fact that base game animals really don't require too much food at all. So we have activated, actually, the Graze mod just to see how it works. It's not done anything here, but I think it's because we have too high of a percentage of food already in there. So we're going to let this kind of feed down. And maybe at some point we'll see grass pop up in here. But it does not change how cows work. So cows will still pick the best food possible. And in fact, with this save, we have TMR and hay there. Well, they are not going to be eating grass at all until we basically just let them feed down. That is why the Graze mod really is recommended for, as an add-on, a companion, I should say, as a companion to the Maize Plus Animal Food Options mod, because the Animal Food Options mod does make some pretty significant changes to how animals need to feed. Armchair, yeah, pretty much. You can see it as a backup plan if you run out of other foods, or if you forget to feed your animals, if you're on a server and a lot of days go by before you have an opportunity to go feed your animals. It can be a sort of a backup, but you do need to understand that most of, including the base game animal pens, only have visual grass. They don't have actual grass. So it's suggested that you go in and repaint the animal pens with actual grass before really the grazing mod will fully take effect. Vesper, it doesn't slow down anything. The animals already consume hardly no food at all compared to real life. So the Maize Plus Animal Food Options mod significantly increases the feeding rate of animals. Graze does nothing with respect to how much the animals feed, simply makes it such that sheep and cows will be able to, quote, in theory, air quote, consume the grass that's within their pen. Okay, it was a feature of Seasons in FS 19. It is an add-on option now in 22. But again, to use that function, you need to paint the animal pen with mowable grass, because apparently even the default animal pen does not actually have mowable grass. It just has visual grass called deco grass. So only after you paint real grass down will basically the script function. Yeah, plow and plant grass too if you want, but I mean the fastest way to do it would just be to paint grass on the ground in the animal pen. everybody, and welcome back to the Backroads map. Backroads County, that is. It is November, and we are doing some corn contracts, some maize contracts. Looking to get some extra dried corn out of these contracts because, well, dried corn is a rather profitable experience. How's everybody's Saturday afternoon, evening going? Or if you're on the West Coast, how's your Saturday morning? Because it is still morning out there for you guys. As I said during the intro, we have a very interesting poll question today. We are asking, should we add Maize Plus and the Maize Plus animal add-on to our game save? So far, we're at 86% say yes. Oh, you guys are evil. But that is 21 votes. 14% say no. Don't worry, we're not going to add it until we really fully understand what the heck we're getting into. But those that have not heard, if you've managed to not hear, Maize Plus is now out for Farming Simulator 22. It's available with Giants Mod Hub. It is available for PC only because it is extensively making use of scripts, and as we all know, scripts are not allowed on console. Thank you, Sony, for ruining the gameplay experience of so many console players. Dwayne, what is up? What is up, my friend? Hellhawk, good morning, sir. My morning's been pretty good. I got the grass cut this morning. Got some other stuff done. Rabbit Rob, I don't think Microsoft doesn't allow scripts. I think it's Sony that doesn't allow scripts, and Giants is just keeping the console playing field level. That's my understanding of things. But then again, I may be misunderstood there. But we're going to spend the afternoon with you guys. It's 2 o'clock my time. We're going to hang out chatting about Maize Plus and all things Farming Simulator for the next 2 hours. I'd like to hear your all's thoughts on the Maize Plus mod. Are you going to add it to your own game save? Or are y'all just sadistic and say, yes, I should add it, but you really don't have any intention to use it? That's my curiosity. We've got a contract on field 10, 10, and I also have a contract out on field 23 for corn. And as I said, we took these out because I wanted to try to take the excess corn that we're going to get off of this and, well, run it through our dry corn dryer, because our dried corn is going to net us a very pretty penny next month. In fact, we're going to get even more money if we hold on to it to June of next year. We also need to make some sales. Oats. We need to sell oats next month. We need to sell our soybeans in June. We are getting pretty low on cash flow. Remember, we are leasing everything on this game save, so using our machinery is costing us money. Uh-oh. I don't know if we're going to get back to the end of the field before we're full. Rabbit Rob, I have no idea. I never used Maize Plus in 19. think there's a bit more to it now. I would highly recommend reading through the rather extensive instruction manual that is linked at the bottom of the Maize Plus description. And only adding it to your game save after you've read that and, quite frankly, understand it. Because the amount of changes it makes, I'm concerned if you take it out later, you may have a broken game save without it. And I'd hate for you to break your game save because you added it and then decided you really didn't want it, you know, a few months after you added it in. Maize Plus is released for Farming Simulator 22. In fact, this right here is the link to download it. In addition, there is now a Maize Plus Animal Food Extension mod. That can be found there. And as I said, I would strongly, I cannot urge this enough. Do not add that mod until you have read and thoroughly understand the impacts by going to this Google Drive link and clicking on the appropriate language of choice. For example, the English Maize Plus manual is 50 pages. 50 pages in length. You got it? Now, some of those pages have pretty pictures, but still. 50 pages in length. It is not your average mod. It has basically as many gameplay changes as Seasons did. So those of you that are aware of FS19 base game versus FS19 with Seasons, how different the two gameplays are, that is basically how different FS22 without Maize Plus is and how FS22 with Maize Plus is going to be. Not everybody likes it. I'll leave it up to you to make your own decisions as to if you are going to be adding that to your own gameplay. But as I would say, I strongly encourage everyone to fully understand what they're getting into before they just dive into it. So today is a very good day for Freddy. Freddy's like, yeah, buddy, Maize Plus is here. Speaking of that, this video is brought to you by Jeff Scott and Belle Kira. Thank you for being farm barons. Pumps and Hoses is out in just 10 days' time. So hard to believe that we have one more Fact Sheet Friday before Maize Plus is released. Oh, sorry, what am I talking about? Pumps and Hoses is released. I've got Maize Plus on the brain. Pumps and Hoses is released in 10 days' time. I don't know why it would not be Cyberwolf. Anhydrous ammonia is simply adding a fertilizer to the game. I don't know how that would not work with Maize Plus. I don't think Maize Plus is really changing fertilization concepts. Then again, it's been a while since I looked through that 50-page manual. I would suspect the developers of Maize Plus really didn't bother trying and seeing if anhydrous ammonia add-on worked or not. But as is with any mod, you never know. You never know until you give it a try, really. We should be just about, I would think we would be just about done sending corn down to the sell point. That way we can keep the balance. How did I turn that off? Oh, Cyberwolf. Hope you enjoy it. See how it works? I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, all anhydrous ammonia does is add a fill type of anhydrous ammonia, registers it as basically fertilizer, makes some changes if you play with precision farming to allow anhydrous to basically inject nitrogen. So precision farming understands that anhydrous is a fertilizer that adds nitrogen and how much nitrogen it adds. Maize Plus, for the most part, deals a lot around various ways of making various types of silage. It splits out maize silage from grass silage from, well, whole crop silage. Changes the recipes of silage. Adds cut potatoes. Also allows you to add sugar beet cut the things. You have CCM, you have lots of different types of grasses, several different drying states of grass. So 78% transported. All right, Freddy. Catch you later. Let me know your thoughts on the Maize Plus when you get back. We're going to be double heading tonight. We're going to be doing a live stream right now until 4. Then we're going to come back 4 hours later and do another live stream on back roads. Super Buffo, welcome. Vesper anhydrous ammonia is not a part of the precision farming add-on. Anhydrous ammonia is a PC-based mod that is available that works with anhydrous or with precision farming. The reason it's PC based is it is using a script to basically inject itself into the precision farming mod for compatibility. Haha, that That's right. Yo, give her the old college try and report back and see, did you break it? Because you know what? That's how people figure out things work or don't work, right? They go and break them. And then they figure out, oh, it's not compatible. And then they go and say, hey, by the way, I learned that this is not compatible. And other people are like, really? And then they go validate it. And, you know, it's all cool. Yep, so anhydrous ammonia is separate. In fact, we're making use of it here on this map. So here we have the anhydrous ammonia. Where is it? Oh, it is. Anhydrous ammonia adds container. Basically, it adds a storage tank for anhydrous. And then basically injects itself into precision farming such that you can use anhydrous to raise the nitrogen levels of your soil. "45 votes and still 80% say yes, we should. We should add it. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about tedding my grass 7 times or however many times it takes. Glad you're liking Lockhorn and I love Freddy. Glad my videos helped you out understand the map. We also need to run some herbicide across our wheat field, or former soybean field. And we posted 3 in one day just the other day. Had a little catching up to do on Thursday, being away for a few days. Yeah, we need to herbicide this field, field 30. You see we've got plenty of weeds growing in there. Then we need to, I plowed field 31. So it is ready to rock and roll. We also have crop now growing in our field 14, which we picked up. We have been a little busy. Have indeed. Loungefly, what is up? Zodal has lots of mods out in the mod hub. Let's head up here to field 23. This guy working up here. Then we'll transport and see how much of that corn we get to keep. Like I said, we gotta put herbicide down. I might paint our cow pasture with regular grass. That way we can see if grazing starts to function after they feed down some of the food levels. This way. A little shorter of a distance, I think. What maps have you all been playing as of late? I think Griffin, Indiana is still the hot map to be on. Or have things been moved over to others so far? Elm Creek by 4, Stevie's edit. Stevie of Facebook fame. La Coronella. Or not La Coronella, that's the Italian, yeah, okay. Map Italia, that's it. Start from Zilch on Griffin. That ought to be fun. Did you lay claim to one of the campground spots? Oh, Rob's doing, what is it? The Norwegian something with ditches. Stay out of them ditches because they be well, they be yeah, they be a B word. I thought that was a really cool concept. The little cheap Bible, yeah, that's what the north front, yeah, that's what I meant. They put the cheap Bible plots there where you could do a start from scratch and kind of put up a little tent, and that'd be your that's going to be your sleep trigger. What was it? The Iowa map that came out right when Vermeer came out. We used that during the launch party, and I landscaped the ditches out of the field so Tricky wouldn't run into them. That's a problem. That's a problem, people. I didn't get any extra corn. Yeah, Iowa Plains. This is how I fix that problem. There. Now I am running the original release of this map. Any issues I may run across are not indicative of how the map may be currently. That is just a little disclaimer I want to put out there. I swear traffic is a major problem in all farm sim. Just putting out there, any issues that you see from these live streams are on the original release of this map. I have not updated. So as such, they may be fixed in subsequent releases. Watch out for the deer. Deer, oh deer. Let's head. Oh, let's get that. Yeah, watch out for those deer too. They break down all the time. Full load of fuel. We'll take this back to the main farm, then we're going to paint grass on our cow area. See if that helps the grazing mod that we added work. There. It's not changing. So maybe this is already growable grass. So the only time will tell now. Only time will tell if this starts filling up on its own some. But I think according to the description, I'm going to have to let this feed down a bit before this will fill back up. Hellhawk is just a content consumer. Like, consuming all types of content. We got our Volter. Remember, Volter's now back in the game. The 1.7 update. Major content consumer. Who says you can't multitask? Right, who says you can't? I read through the Maize Plus manual several weeks ago. I got lost. There was a chart. Hopefully they've made the chart a bit more understanding. There was a chart around grass states. And there was, I don't know, there was something on that chart that didn't make any sense. There was like no understanding or description. Let's see if I can get to it. Yeah, this. Okay. The tedding options. Here we go. This didn't make any sense to me. So we have fresh grass, and we tedder standard, and then we get lightning bolt. What's lightning bolt? Then we get fresh grass. We have a tedder with a conditioner. We get conditioned grass. Then we use a standard tedder and we get hay. We have fresh grass. We use tedder semi-dry. We get semi-dry grass. Then we use a standard tedder and we get lightning bolt. What's lightning bolt? Fresh grass, semi-dry grass, header hay, and then we get hay. And fresh grass and tedder hay equals hay directly. Well, what's the lightning bolts? What does lightning bolt mean? Base game conditioned at semi-dry hay. Yeah, see, this needs far more description and understanding. My main concern is that hopefully the documentation doesn't suffer from a fault that so many forms of documentation suffer from. And this is not simply related to farm sim. This is related to any form of documentation. that it is way too easy to write documentation assuming some level of pre-existing knowledge by the person reading the document. Right? It's so hard sometimes to write a document and remember that you are possibly writing this document for someone that has no conception as to what the heck the thing that you wrote the document on does. So the document not only needs to explain things, it needs to thoroughly explain things to someone that has no preconceived idea of how it's supposed to work. And that chart doesn't help you if you don't already understand it. I've had went through so much documentation at work from various products that we are trying to implement. And, well, it's like their document starts at step 3. And you're like, well, I don't even know how to get to step 1. How do you do step 1? You start from where? Or you go through, you're doing good, you're at like step 6, and then step 7 is like, what? It feels like there's 3 or 4 steps between 6 and 7 that they just kind of skipped over. So I've got to go back, reread the documents. I get it. There's multiple states of grass. There's wet grass. There's conditioned grass. There's semi-dry grass, and then there's hay. I get that. I get it. Same with respect to if you have a map with clover, if you have a map with alfalfa or other forms of grass. There are different states of grass that you have to go through and different ways of mowing the grass in order to basically kind of jumpstart the different phases. But I'm concerned that some of the documentation is maybe written by those that are obviously very knowledgeable of the product, but not thinking at it from a standpoint of what things does someone who has no idea, no preconceived notion of how it's supposed to work, what do they need to know? So if I ever actually figure Maize Plus out, I might do a video series explaining it as best as I can understand it. But that is not in the works or planned at the moment. So we can complete this contract. A little frustrated I didn't get any extra money off of that, but oh well. Oh, Farmer G, I thoroughly prefer the maize, or thoroughly preferred seasons. Yes. The whole grass drying, naturally grass drying in seasons made sense. That's how we do things here on this side of the ocean. We cut our grass, we let it sit out and bake in the sun. It dries, it becomes hay, we bale it, we're done. The concept of having to run grass through a heading process multiple times in order to get it dry enough to make hay is a bit of a foreign concept. The only time we needed to head hay was if it got rained on. But I think that there is a way of basically one-stepping the process. It seems like there's a way of one-stepping the process. But on that chart, what the heck is the lightning bolt? There's no explanation what lightning bolt is. Is lightning bolt that if you do that, then you're struck by lightning and you're dead, or what? I mean, if the mod is configurable, are you freaking kidding me? If the mod is configurable to the point that, you know, you can kind of pick and choose. What features of Maize Plus do I want to add? What features of Maize Plus do I not want to deal with? That would be great. Total flexibility. Let the player play and choose how in-depth or not in-depth their gameplay is. I mean, I was rather outspoken about Maize Plus and maps that had Maize Plus built into them in 19 with respect to just give the player the choice. Right? Maps that had Maize Plus built into them, even if you didn't use Maize Plus, there were certain gameplay functions that were kind of forced upon you. So then it was like, you know, if a player wants to play XYZ map, but they just don't want to deal with the Maize Plus things, and the map author of XYZ map incorporated Maize Plus into it, the gameplay on that map with Maize Plus not added was not base game gameplay. There was some aspect of Maize Plus that you had to use because it was burned into the map. If it's now totally adjustable, where things don't have to be burned into the map. And you can choose, do I want to do Maize Plus style tedding, or do I just want to do regular tedding? Do I want to do Maize Plus style TMR mix, or do I just want to do a regular mix? Being able to pick and choose is kind of the ultimate in gameplay flexibility. I mean, I like the concept of the animal add-on. I like the concept. I think it's just ridiculously easy to feed a large number of animals in the base game. But at the same time, I watch some farm tubers, and some of the farm tubers I watch basically raise beef cattle, and they don't make their own feed that's like 7 different ingredients. They basically have a grain mill, and they grind barley, and they'll feed ground barley to their cows, and they'll also feed hay bales to their cows, and that's what their cows eat. They'll eat some ground barley as a kind of a supplement to the hay that is provided, and then of course whatever grass they eat off the pasture they eat. And if they feed silage, they're feeding kind of either corn silage or Sudan silage in addition to hay. But if they're feeding silage, they're not feeding ground grain. I'm just gonna call you Bond. I really don't know how to say that. Welcome, Bond. How are you doing? I think we'll be able to go up and down now at the end of the field. So like I said, I got to relook at the Maize Plus manual, get a good understanding of it, and figure out if it's something we really are possibly going to add. And if we do add it, what we're going to add it for. I think what we're going to do is turn in for the day. It's getting a little dark. Still nothing there. Oops. Isaac the farmer, welcome. Welcome to the party. We had fun last night doing our Forza Horizon 5 Friday Night Forza. Worked through the first season of Series 12. Hard to believe in just 3 weeks. I think Forza's going to be out for a year at this point. That is pretty cool. What am I trying to get to? Here we are. 46%. I think we're doing good. I think we're going to have some extra corn on this contract. We didn't have any extra corn over on field 9. That was a little bit depressing. But back to that, it's too easy to feed cows. We've got 50 cows here. And we have this field here. Field 16 is in grass, and we can easily feed 50 cows with this much grass. Absolutely easy. No problem whatsoever. We could probably feed 200 cows off of that grass field. All right, Cyberwolf. Catch you later. I don't know if it yields more milk. I don't know if it necessarily would change the profits of milk either. There we go. Up. That's not what we want. Why are we folding this header up? Lock that thing in and let's go to town. It would reward you for going through all the extra effort. Especially with the fact that you now have grass silage, you have maize silage, you have whole crop silage, so that would be basically mowing down growing barley, growing wheat, growing oats, for example. And then you would forage that and make silage out of that. There's a way of chopping now potatoes and then incorporating that into your silage mix. Adding chopped beet to your silage mix. We might buy these two fields at some point, 23 and 22, because we own 32. We own 14. We might buy 15 at some point and just kind of own this big section. Those that are playing Backroads, where is your farm? I think Vesper said he mixed, or he combined fields 18 and 19. Jim, are these modded chicken coops or base game chicken coops? Have you moved past, how long have you been playing on that particular game save? Because I don't think your health is reevaluated until overnight. So depending on how long you've owned those chickens. So like if you just bought the chickens and you fed them, so okay, you've gone through several months of chicken ownership, assuming that they don't run out of food overnight, because I think health is only evaluated overnight. So assuming they still have food overnight, I don't really know why they would have 0 health. As we learned from a previous live stream, that chickens seem to be a much more popular animal than I had thought initially. But I can tell you that I don't use chickens that often. We have chickens over on Bloomfield. And I can't tell you that I've really looked to see what their health looks like. That's an interesting idea there, Rabbit Rock. I overshot my my turn. Someone left a nice meat in the trash can. And who left their harvester up here on top of the roof? That's what I want to know. Help. That'll give us some extra money. Which apparently we needed some because we're still only down to $19,000. Take a shortcut through the farm. Still need to figure out what we're going to plant in some of these fields. All right, nobody look. Nobody look. We don't own the field, so we're just going to drive through it. Who's going to go? Almost time for the corn maze. Who's going to run back to Elm Creek and run through the corn maze this autumn? Corn maze in October and Halloween, they all go together. Oh, will we get a haunted corn maze? Will we get zombies walking the corn maze on Elm Creek on Halloween night? Oh, that would be interesting. Chad is all over Maize Plus, baby. Maize Plus is the bee's knees in FS Double Deuce versus FS19. So, were you not a big Maize Plus guy in FS19? What makes it more of a bee's knees thing in FS22? Inquiring minds are a little inquiring. But, yeah, let's see here. What is... When we turn back around, I'll pull up another slide. We'll talk about the features of Maize Plus in Farming Simulator 22. Again, let you guys decide if you want to add it to your gameplay also. But if it gives the player the choice, I mean, it's already a choice because you can add it or not add it, right? If it doesn't have to be built into the map, that is the best new difference between 19 and 22. Because in 19, the map had to be prepared for Maize Plus, and as a result, if you didn't want to really use Maize Plus and you were wanting to play on a map that had it, well, you kind of didn't have a choice. So here we are, the features of Maize Plus in FS22. The distinction between silage, between grass, maize, and whole crop silage. So we get 3 different types of silage versus 1 type. The additional stages: CCM silage, brewer's grain silage, and beet pulp brewer's grain silage. Okay, whatever those are. Potato cut has been added and can be added to grass silage before ensilling starts or used as animal feed. Sugar beet cut can be added to maize silage before ensilling starts. Lupersol can be added to CCM during milling. I think Lupersol, that's the additive for silage in base game, I think, maybe. Grass, maize, and whole crop silage can be baled as a globally added to all the balers and wrappers. So we can bale corn, and we can bale whole crop silage. Storage of potatoes and sugar beets can be done in the bunkers. So you can just raw unload potatoes and sugar beets in bunker silos. Multiple drying stages for hay. Feed system completely revised and extended because of the new silages, as well as other purchasable feed components. Recipes for different feeding mixtures selectable at the touch of a button. Pig food can be made in a feed mixer. Adjusted quantities and components of animal feeding. Edible by players. Additional machines. So we have a CCM mill, a grain grist mill, a grassland subsoil or whatever. Additional vehicles, trucks and trailers. Additional selling points in different sizes. Additional storage silos and 3 small silage bunkers. More on that in a minute. Hellhawk, what about the new windrower? We used it the other day on Bloomfield when we made our 1,080 some bales. So we have new food components, part of this. We have new silage bunkers and obviously different types of silage. Different stages of drying grass. Hopefully I can see the different stages. We have a truck and mill. Different feeding mixtures, a cutter roller. Selling point to buy or sell things. Refilling points. And whatever that is. Right? So fresh grass becomes conditioned grass, becomes semi-dry grass, which becomes hay. But at some point, hay could become semi-dry grass or conditioned grass again if it's rained on. Right? It's possible to head back from hay to grass, which allows the player to simulate or roleplay grass needing to be retedded after rain. Oh, so I can take regular grass, I can make a conditioned grass by mowing. Then I can ted it and make semi-dry grass or hay. Then if I should, for some reason, want to make conditioned grass out of hay, I can re-ted it back into conditioned grass to then ted it back into hay or semi-dry grass, which I could then ted back to grass conditioned if I really have plenty of time and just want to. Yeah. Grass can be as easy or as hard as you really want it to be. We already talked about the lightning bolt chart. No idea what lightning bolts mean. So mowers can have the choice of a conditioner, right? If you mow with conditioned state, you get grass conditioned versus fresh grass. Okay. So we have fresh grass, which is right here. Conditioned grass, which is a little lighter in colored. So we have fresh grass, conditioned grass, semi-dry grass, and hay. In the F1 menu, the tedder, you have to set the following level. So we could just go straight to hay with a tedder, or we could stage it down. Oh, now this is when it starts to get mind blowing. Seems to behave in a favorable way when windrowing near headland, perimeter, straw, grass, or hay, where the rower recognizes that the row and does not drop it near. don't know, Big Riggin. I thought I had read something a while ago about grass and rain. But then looking at that chart, it looked like the player could simulate the change, and not so much that when it rained, semi-dry grass would roll back to a previous state. But more or less, it was on the player that, oh man, my grass got rained on. I can TED it again and convert it previous state, and then at some point TED it again to get it back to the state that I want it in. So we have, I think you're talking about this chart. If the mower conditioner is used when mowing, the fresh grass stage is skipped. So if you use a mower conditioner, you go from grass to conditioned grass. If you have the mower conditioner turned off, you get fresh grass. If using dual mowers, okay, yeah. The Z key, okay. Thus the player can choose it, okay. The player can choose how many stages to TED to produce hay. It is possible to TED back from hay to grass conditioned, which allows the player to simulate or roleplay grassing if you re-TED it after rain. So this doesn't say that it changes because it rained. This change says the player could pretend, could roleplay the grass needs to be retethered after raining by setting the tether to a different state, then running over the field again. That's how I understand it. Oh, Big Rick, and I think I understand. Hellhawk, I think I understand now what you're saying. I thought you were talking about dropping product on the ground, but what you're really talking about is the delay that it lowers the rear roller, the rear rakes versus the front rakes. And yes, there is a delay. But even the larger rakes, larger base game rakes do that now. When you drop them, the front rake's lower, and then the back rake's lower, and they seem to be timed to the state that they lower if you're driving at the working rate. The rear rake's lower where the front rakes would be, or were, when they lowered themselves. I don't know if it's detecting it as much as it's just timed such that with the working speed, the rear rake's lower at the point for which the front rakes were when you hit the lower function. I don't have them here. Yeah, I don't have it on this save. I mean, if you get this coon does that. These lower than these lower. All right, so we can tip fresh grass. We cannot tip in the bunker. We can only put conditioned grass or semi-dry grass in a silage bunker. We can bale fresh grass and we get grass. We can bale conditioned grass and get grass. We can bale semi-dry grass and get grass. We can wrap and get grass silage out of fresh and conditioned and semi-dry grass. The forage harvester will get grass conditioned if you pick up fresh grass, conditioned grass if you pick up conditioned grass, or semi-dry grass will be converted back to conditioned grass if you pick it up with a forage harvester. And you can't pick up hay with a forage harvester. Whole crop silage can be made from wheat, barley, or oat. So we can mow wheat, barley, or oat. We can forage it, or we can mow it with a direct disc. Oh, that's all good, Big Rig and Roger. That's all good. We all learn different ways, but yeah. I don't think if it rains, your hay is going to convert back. So CCM, we can take corn and run it through the mill and we get this, whatever that is. Then we can dump this in a ferment silo or wrap it. And we get CCM, which is whatever. I don't know what you do with it. So we can take the CCM mill. And we can make CCM or grain gerst. Whatever that is. Okay. Mixed grain mill. Is that different? Oh, we can take grain gerst, whatever that is. I'm hoping this explains why I care about making CCM or grain gerst at some point. If not, it goes back to my comment about sometimes directions or instructions are made and the people making them have some preconceived notion that those reading the directions already have some realm of knowledge as to what the directions are meaning. And one should never write directions based on the assumption that the people that are reading the directions already understand what's going on, because those people won't be reading the directions to begin with. Alright, feeding changes. Feeding is split into categories. Animals no longer eat the highest production feed first. They eat from all 4 food groups at the same time, parallel. So what that means is, right now, base game, cows are cereal eaters. They don't eat cereal. They eat one thing at a time. So they're like kids. They don't mix their foods. They eat one food on their plate, then they eat another food on their plate, then they eat another food on their plate, and the whole time they wish they were having ice cream. Okay? That's what these cows are doing. If they have mixed rations, they'll eat mixed rations, and then when they run out of that, they'll eat hay. But they won't eat hay and mixed rations at the same time. But with Maize Plus, they will. They'll eat mixed rations, hay, and grass all at the same time, because they don't really care if their food mixes, because it all goes down the same hole and it will all be in their stomach at the same time. That's what that is saying. Okay, that's what parallel feeding is. Each category is 25% production value. Food consumption is increased. Small increases for all animals using Maize Plus, times 10 increase over 19 seasons. For cows, significant increase in milk and manure and slurry output, and it's configurable by the player. Where is the game at? Okay. The following categories exist: base food, roughage, protein food, energy food, moisture food, power food, feed concentrate, and mineral feed. Well, let's hope it explains all those. Oh my lord. Our youngest one time told us that he didn't like his food to touch, and and we looked at him and said, "Since when? Since when did you not like your food to touch?" Oops. All right, back to this. So cows. Base food is grass silage, maize silage, or whole crop silage. So basically base food is silage. Roughage is alfalfa hay or hay if you're on a map with alfalfa hay, but Maize Plus does not add alfalfa to a map. That is important to understand. Moisture food is potato cut, sugar beet cut, brewer's grain, or brewer's grain silage, beet pulp, or beet pulp silage. I sure as hell hope they explain those later. Power food is mineral feed, grain grist, no idea what that is, canola, soybeans, or beet pellets. Don't know if we can make beet pellets. And all these are fed at the same time, so you have to feed your cows some form of silage, some form of hay, some form of potato, sugar beet cut, or brewer's grain or beet pulp, and some form of mineral feed, grain grist, canola, soybeans, or bean pellets. Holsteins produce more milk than brown Swiss. First calf is produced after 26 months, and milk is started produced between 26 and 26 months. Sheep are needed some form of silage. They're going to need either hay, alfalfa hay, clover hay, or hay pellets. I hope we can make hay pellets. They're going to need carrots. We don't have carrots on all maps. It has to be a map with carrots. Sugar beet cut, beet cup, fresh maize. What's fresh? Is that corn? I don't know. Potato cut. Power food is grain grist, mineral feed, or beet pellets. Base food for horses is horse silage, which apparently is different than grass silage, maize silage, or whole crop silage, because now we have horse silage. Oats, hay pellets, whole crop silage, or fresh grass. And horse hay or hay, because horse hay is different than hay apparently. Moisture grass or fresh grass, carrots, or sugar beet cut, and mineral feed. We skipped over pigs. So we feed them CCM, grain grist, mineral feed, or beet pellets. Soybeans, canolas, or brewer's grain or brewer grain silage. Wheat, beet pulp, maize, potato cut, sugar beet, and carrots. But again, carrots are not on every map now with Maize Plus. Carrots are only on maps with carrots. Chickens now need soybeans or alfalfa hay for protein. They need wheat for energy. They need corn for base food. And power food, they need sugar beet cut. But notice base food just says corn here, whereas with horses it says... where's this? No, that's for pigs. It says... No. Where does it say something about fresh maize? I thought I read somewhere it said fresh maize. Maybe I read that wrong. Right here, moisture food, fresh maize. Was fresh maize different for sheep than regular maize? I don't know. Maize Plus Animal Edition, so this is an add-on mod. Okay. Maize Plus Animal Feed, so this is where you can go in and you make your changes. But this is all, like, you know, if you're not comfortable making changes in XMLs, then I wouldn't do it. Feeding mixture. This is where you can go in and tweak your own feeding mixtures. And if you're not comfortable with doing those things, then you're not going to be able to really change those things. Yeah, it's already getting way too complex for probably 90% of the players out there right there. They're not going to go in and tweak these. Alright, so animal food edition recipes, cow standard. Realistic mixture. No, I'm sorry. I have never seen a farm tuber that does cows feed their cows sugar beet cut or potatoes, sugar beets, CCM, alfalfa hay, filtered freaking water, molasses, grain grist, whatever that is, beet pulp, silage, and 3 different forms of silage. No, like I said, I've seen people, they feed ground corn, ground barley, ground oats, corn silage, or sorghum silage, or hay. But not all at the same time. Yeah. See, this is where it starts to get, this is too much. When I need a cheat sheet to reference every time I need to make some food. So, what's this? F12? Wonder what F12 does. Yeah, filtered water instead of regular water. Chris, I don't think there is such a thing, Chris. I don't think you need a Maize Plus map. I don't think maps need to be made for Maize Plus anymore. It's all been self-contained around its own mod. So you can buy chicken food, which I guess is pre-made with all the 4 different food types. Concentrated feed, ship feed, pig food, horse pellets. My mineral feed, grain, grist, beet pellets, or hay pellets. We can buy pet food buying station. So we can buy beet pellets, mineral feed, grain grist, sheep feed, horse feed, hay pellets, concentrated feed, chicken food, or pig food. Slider, what? The term slider refers to the individual categories for pet food in the animal window. What? Are they calling these sliders? That is the weirdest terminology I've ever heard if they're calling these things sliders. So we can buy animal feed from here. We get molasses and Lupersol, which I think Lupersol is already in the game, right? Isn't that not what this is? Maybe not. I was hoping that there was going to be a UI menu. Maybe there is a UI menu. Or a way to toggle between the various feed mixes. I'm not a big fan of having the average Joe needing to go in and edit XML. Not saying the average Joe can't do it, but I can tell you I've read enough comments on my own videos where I walk through people editing XML files to know that a decent percentage of people are going to fail miserably at it. Breaking. I want to see how much I have left when this thing unloads. That's why we're not going back looking at the manual again. %77% transport. That's how we save time. Fillable pallets for bulk materials, carrots, potato pallets, blah, blah, blah. Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Oh. Then we can buy grass silage, maize silage, round CCM bales, haylage bales, alfalfa silage, clover silage, or round bale horse silage. We can buy hay bales. Compact grass. What is compact grass? Hay. Well, then why don't we just call it hay bundles? Then we have 2 additional bunker silos and a manure, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. This thing is on. Yes, it's on. All right, then we have silos. So we have silos that can store the food types that have been added that we can buy. Okay. We have grass silage, maize silage, whole crop silage, corn grain gerst, which I guess is CCM. We can put beet pulp in here for beet pulp silage, and brewer's grain silage, which they've yet to explain. We can also put potatoes and store them in bunkers, and sugar beets in bunkers. We can't ferment these, but we can just simply use them for storage. Oh, brewer's grain. We finally maybe learn what that is. Brewer's grain and brewer's grain silage is introduced, and can only be purchased at a special sales station. So we can't make brewer's grain, but I thought up here. Did you not say up here that we can make brewer's grain with this? No, that makes grain gerst. Well, what the hell is that for? So we have to buy brewer's grain, then we have to put it in here, then we have to ferment it in order to get brewer's grain silo. Beet pulp can be bought at the appropriate selling point. Again, we can't make beet pulp apparently, but we can make beet pulp silage. So there goes a farmer being completely and totally self-sufficient, because you can't make brewer's grain or beet pulp. You have to buy those in. Both types of food. The sugar beet cut, we know how to make sugar beet cut. We can now make potato cut with the sugar beet cutter. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Grassland subsoiler and cutter roller. So you can plow a grassy area or meadow, but this time when you plow it, you have to use one of these, and it doesn't actually plow the grass away, but it basically removes the need plowing state, I guess. We were only 70-some percent. Am I going to be short again? Did I just do these 2 contracts and not earn any corn to go towards my dried corn? The whole reason I did these contracts? Yeah, one of the farm tubers I watch on the YouTubes, they still use one of the Gale mills, an old Gale grain mill, and they grind corn up, they grind up barley, and then they add that to, they basically then put that ground corn or ground grain in a gravity feeder, and then they put that in the pasture with their feed cattle, their beef cattle, and the cows eat the grain, the ground grain, out of the feed mixer or the gravity mixer. And then they also then feed hay, and I mean that's what they feed. Cows get ground grain and they get hay. That's their food. But they only feed grain when they're out of silage. So if they have silage, they will put that in a trough, a wheeled trough, and they'll roll that into the field. And they'll feed silage and hay. Get any money, any extra with these contracts, a complete loss. It looks like it. I didn't even fill that one. It's just enough to complete the contract. Why is that, Hellhawk? Now again, my inability to get the contracts to complete should not negatively reflect the map, because I am still using the release version of the map 1.0. The map has been updated a few times since it first came out, so these issues may already be resolved. I just have not updated because I do not see the need to start a new save on it or move things over other than these random contract problems. Everything works for us. with that running, let's go back to this. So often it's necessary to plow a grassy area or meadow. Until now, that was only possible with the associated crop being destroyed as the soil was completely reworked. Now it's possible to plow grassy areas without destroying the grass. For this purpose, the grassland subsoiler was implemented in the game, which also adds fertilization to the soil. If precision farming is used, it will increase nitrogen by that much. It is recommended to turn field stones off because, well, you're going to get stones if you use it. DSV seed, whatever that is. Oh, so it's just a branded seed. Okay. All feed mixers are globally rewritten. All bale shredders are globally rewritten. Do not use screenshot mode. So apparently the screenshot mod doesn't work. Maize Plus as well as maps use approximately that much. Oh, and then go there for their Discord. So, I'm on board until I get down to here. And then, all right, so we can make grass silage, maize silage, whole. I get that. I can make hay. I get that. All right, we need to have potatoes, sugar beets, or we have to buy brewer's grain or buy beet pulp. All right, I get that. And we can buy mineral feed. We can make grain gerst by using that mill thing. Okay. Still don't know why this says fresh maize and this just says maize. Is fresh maize different? If it's not different, then why does it say fresh maize versus regular maize? So this is okay. So, all right. So this part really just talks about when Maize Plus, the feeding of animals will be controlled by this XML. The base game settings are changed. This can be adjusted if you want, but if you adjust this, you will have to change it in XML. So, cows, you can change this to serial versus parallel. And you can change the percentage that any one column is. Right now it's even. Then you can change what is in it. But that has to be done through manual editing of the XML. Most players are going to be stuck with how it is by default. You're going to have to keep these charts as cheat sheets because the base game is going to say base food, roughage, moisture, and power food. And you're going to have to know that roughage is hay and moisture food is potato cut, sugar beet cut, brewer's grain, or beet pulp, and what these are power foods. So you're just going to have to know that. And then, so if you make TMR, does it fill up all the columns at once? That doesn't necessarily, I mean, it doesn't explain that. Does it? I mean, up here it doesn't say this requires TMR, right? But if I make TMR, is it basically filling these 4 things evenly? Like if you feed pig food, it feeds them, levels them all up evenly. It doesn't say that, but it should say that. It should say if you want to make TMR, which will make feeding easier because all 4 of these columns will increase at the same rate, then you have, this is going to be your mix. Now suddenly we have to add molasses and filtered water. Whereas if we just fed them individually, we wouldn't have to. Well, Hellhawk, I would hope. Hopefully those tutorials are accurate. I don't know. I'm not going to watch them. Because honestly, I don't think I'm going to be using it. And I mean, I've got lots of questions just reading through the document. I think it was going to take me a few days. It would take me multiple days to iterate through a lot of these questions that I have to figure them out before I would feel confident doing a video. So I'm hoping that these tutorials are accurate. So currently Maize Plus does not work with the automatic feeding robot. So if you have the automatic feeding robot on your map, you got to get rid of it because it's not going to work. Right? So mineral feed, straw, silage, hay. So this is the standard recipe. And then you can change it to realistic mixture, where you're going to have to provide potato cut, beets, CCM, alfalfa hay, filtered molasses, 75 ingredients with the right percentages in this thing that only holds 24,000 liters. Then you have a different mix for beef cattle and a different mix for young cows. Or dairy cows. I like that you can make pig food. Oh yeah, that's nice. So pig food is just molasses, mineral feed, or CCM. So that's nice. And maybe open power tools menu is what allows you to get to these different recipe changes. But then when in doubt, you can buy sheep feed at all. But sheep feed is only going to do slider 1 and 4. Chris, but I think you're referencing 19 though. I don't think you need a Maize Plus map in 22. Maize Plus doesn't bring clover or alfalfa or carrots to any map, but it doesn't. You don't have to have a Maize Plus prepared map to do all the other stuff. Yeah, the feeding robot requires mineral feed. I never use mineral feed because there's no added benefit. Well, sliders want so protein. So if I buy sheep food, I'm only going to get protein, silage, or moisture food. I still have to feed these two. Is that what I'm supposed to derive from this? Slider 1, 3, and 4 for cows is base food, roughage, base food, moisture food, and power food. But I still need to provide hay if I buy concentrated cow feed. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Or I'm trying to understand from the charts. Oops. Then of course we talked about all those. Brewer's grain silage, so we had to buy brewer's grain to make that. Beet pulp silage, we have to buy beet pulp. We can't make beet pulp in any way. We can't make brewer's grain in any way. Hopefully there's a mod at some point that allows you to make beet pulp and brewer's grain. What slows down the cattle consumption drastically? I thought the Maize Plus stuff increased animal food consumption. Well, Hellhawk, I would assume it'd be World War I. That's when they were referring to Axis and Allies. They didn't really do that in World War II. Did they? Or did they do that also? The cows have no idea if mineral feed is included in the TMR or not. There's only one fill type for TMR in the base game. So if you make mixed rations from hay and silage, hay, silage, or straw, or hay, silage, straw, and mineral feed, the end result is the same fill type. So the cows have no idea when you dump that fill type into the food trough. They have no idea what went into the make of mixed rations. All they know is the mixed rations fill type is being added to the trough. I could see that being the case if when you made mixed rations with hay and silage, you got, let's say, mixed rations 1. Hay, silage, and straw gave you mixed rations 2. Hay, silage, straw, and mineral feed gave you mixed rations 3, as far as fill types. And the food trough would accept mixed rations 1, 2, or 3. But when they're the same, they're the same. There's no distinction after you make it as to what's in it. Okay. So Gale was formed by a former German officer. That's what you were getting at. Simperbo or Sinperbo, what's up? Welcome to the party. We're gonna be done here just a little bit as soon as we get done spraying our field. 106 votes and 80% of you, over 80 votes, want to see me add Maize Plus. Now, are we talking base game here, or are we talking with Maize Plus? How hot? I don't know. I would personally think that there's something else afoot in that video that would be showing such a difference. Because I still stand that mixed rations is mixed rations, regardless of how you make the mixed rations. After the game has mixed rations, it doesn't know the difference. But I also am not one to make such type videos. So I won't be doing my own to confirm or disprove anyone else's. Mr. Jenner, you are late. In fact, we would have been done 6 minutes ago if we didn't have a big job on our hands. It's all good. It's all good. But I do like, I love precision farming, see and spray. I mean, we are barely going through any herbicide. You know, it used to be you'd go through herbicide like there's no tomorrow. Now we're going to spray this entire field and barely use any of our herbicide. Is that a PTO break? Is that what that is? Something release is what that says. I don't know. I don't know. So if we go here, this is iterating through all of the fill types that I can tip to the ground. And you'll notice there's only one total mixed rations. So I don't know. Were they base game pins? Were they modded pins? Were they the exact same pin? I mean, I would hope that they were the exact same. Delilah, welcome. Yes, I mean, these guys eat like next to nothing. I think I've already... That's what I was worried about. I mean, it sounds like a solid test. Just doesn't make sense. Yeah, I thought I already sprayed that. I did. Algeron, there's no indication that pumps and hoses will have anything related to irrigation. Pumps and hoses is all about processing liquid manure slurry in new ways by using a drag line and pumps on the edges of the fields to pump the product to the applicator through a long series of hoses. And then there is also a manure separation component to the mod, or DLC, of taking liquid manure and being able to separate the solids in liquid manure and then have a digestate residual liquid, and then using those solids in a form of animal bedding or fertilizer or selling those. And then there is the addition of a modular BGA to build out a BGA how you want, where you want, kind of laid out the way you want, as opposed to having to use one of the three predefined configurations. Clean the garage. Oh, Chris, there's a way of cleaning the garage. It's called having a garage sale. You open the door, you put a sign out that says garage sale. You don't move anything. And you just let people come in and clean your garage out for you. I guess that would be a decent question to ask Hellhawk. If one pen had a significantly reduced food output or food intake, does that mean that they are producing less milk? Does that mean they are producing less offspring? Are they not going to reproduce if they are beef cattle? I mean, doesn't it sound genius? The whole idea of actually having a garage sale, a garage sale. Lift the doors up, put a sign out, and say, come rummage through my garage. What do you want? And I may or may not sell it to you. And I think tonight when we come back, it will be December. We're going to be selling our wheat. We got wheat, or do we have oats? What do we have? We're going to be selling our oats so we can earn some money because we are in desperate need of cash. $27,000 is all we've got in our name. Remember, we are leasing every single component that we are using on this game save, so every hour of usage is money out of our bank account. And then we'll have to see about where we're going to plant in these other fields. Yeah, lease to own mod. That's what we're using, the lease to own mod. So ultimately, at some point, we'll buy the equipment because we will have paid down enough stuff. This is not on a server. This is local gameplay. So if we are not actually playing, time does not pass. Because after all, we're going to go a whole week. So like Bloomfield, we're going to go a whole week without playing anything on Bloomfield. The entire time we were live streaming Bloomfield, Back roads sat idle. Didn't load it up once. Yeah, so if we go, for example, here, we could buy that tractor now for $86,000. That tractor we just picked up because it was just part of the new update. Yeah, the idea was lease to own. Like we've owned the truck for 15 months. Right, we could buy it for $45,000. Same with the harvester. So at some point when the value is low enough and we have enough money, we can buy some of the things we've been leasing. But until then, it's all lease payments. What is up, Bergdus? Where's the race? Is there a race this week? I don't think there's a race this week, is it? Is it a travel week? We're almost done. We got wheat in this one. We have barley in that other field. I think we might put sunflowers in that field over here. And we might put corn back up there. I don't know. We might put corn in both fields. Double down on our corn dryer usage. Oh, is this supposed to be the Russian Grand Prix? No Russian Grand Prix. No Russian Grand Prix because Russia's being pricks of their own. Oh! That's good. That's a handy little lease to own hack to know there. Don't repair until you buy out the lease. If indeed it makes the price cheaper. Drop that off. I was going to go feed the cows, but I don't think we need to do that. We'll take this back to our farm. And with that, everybody, we are going to say thank you and good evening, good afternoon, good night, and good morning, depending on where you are watching in the world. We will be back in approximately 3.5 hours to live stream a doubleheader. Be back here on Back Roads. Since I can never pronounce the map right, we're going to be on Back Roads tonight. We're going to be selling our oats and making plans for spring. Seeing what type of trouble we can get into with respect to this field over here to our right and the field that we plowed up there on the hill. Inevitably, we will have more hay to make once spring comes. We've got plenty of straw. We're not going to need to make straw anytime soon. Other than to sell it, we've got a nice little supply of hay, although we could use some more hay. And until next time, happy farming.